There was a time when the empire of Alexander the Great looked unstoppable. It stretched across continents. It defeated every enemy that stood in its path. It moved faster than any force before it, and for a moment, it felt permanent. But empires don't always fall in one moment. Sometimes they are worn down, broken slowly. After Alexander's death, the wars did not end. They intensified. What began as a struggle for control turned into something else, something far more dangerous. The men who had once fought together were no longer trying to protect what he built. They were trying to take it, territory by territory, army by army, year after year. And with every battle, something irreversible happened. The idea of unity began to disappear. This was no longer a fight to rule one empire. This was a fight to survive in a world where the empire no longer existed. And this time, there would be no return. The conflicts that followed became known as the Wars of the Diadochi. But the name does not capture the reality. This was not one war. It was many, overlapping, continuous, and unstable. Alliances formed quickly, then collapsed just as fast. Generals who had once stood side by side turned against each other without hesitation. Loyalty was no longer tied to empire. It was tied to survival. Every decision was calculated, every alliance temporary, every victory incomplete, because no matter how much land was taken, it was never enough to secure everything. And so the wars continued, not toward unity, but away from it. Each conflict weakened the possibility of rebuilding what had been lost. Each betrayal made trust impossible. Each campaign pushed the generals further into their own ambitions. They were no longer trying to lead a single empire. They were building separate powers. And with each passing year, that separation became harder to reverse, until eventually, it could not be reversed at all. The breaking point came at the Battle of Ipsus. This was not just another battle. It was the moment everything changed. Armies gathered from across the former empire, massive forces built by years of conflict. Former allies now stood on opposite sides, commanding troops that once fought under the same banner. The scale was enormous, and the stakes were final. War elephants moved across the battlefield, reshaping formations and cutting off movements. Infantry lines clashed. Cavalry attempted to outmaneuver and strike at the flanks. But this battle was not just about tactics. It was about possibility. One side still believed the empire could be taken, unified under a single power. The other side fought to stop that from ever happening. And when the battle ended, that possibility died. A major contender fell. A central figure was removed, and with that, the last real chance to restore one empire disappeared. The result of Ipsus was not just victory or defeat. It was finality, because after this, there was no one left who could take everything. After Ipsus, the wars did not stop, but something had changed. Before, the generals had still fought with a larger goal in mind: control of the entire empire. That ambition drove their decisions, their alliances, and their campaigns. Now, that ambition began to fade, not because they lacked desire, but because they understood the limits. Years of warfare had reduced their numbers. Key figures were gone. Armies were still powerful, but no longer capable of dominating everything. The scale of ambition shrank. Instead of trying to control the entire empire, the generals focused on securing what they already held. Territories became defined. Borders began to stabilize. War shifted from expansion to defense. And with that shift, something important was lost: the idea of one empire. There was no leader strong enough to rebuild it, no alliance stable enough to support it, and no trust left to sustain it. The final chance had not been lost in a single moment. It had been worn away, battle by battle, until nothing remained. Out of years of conflict, something new began to emerge: not unity, structure. In Egypt, Ptolemy I Soter had built a kingdom designed to endure. Protected, organized, and stable, it became one of the strongest powers in the region. In the east, Seleucus I Nicator expanded across vast territories, creating a new empire that stretched across former Persian lands. These were not temporary positions. They were permanent states, each with its own identity, its own system, its own future. Other regions followed the same path. Smaller powers formed, alliances solidified, and the political landscape transformed completely. The empire had not simply collapsed. It had been replaced by multiple empires, each born from the same origin, but moving in different directions. In the end, The empire of Alexander the Great did not fall to a foreign enemy. It did not collapse in a single catastrophic defeat. It ended through years of war, division, ambition, and adaptation. What had once been one became many, and yet something remained. Across these new empires, a shared influence continued. Cities, culture, language, and ideas spread across regions that had once been connected by conquest. The empire was gone, but its impact had grown. That was the final outcome, not destruction. Transformation. Alexander built one empire, but in the end, it became a world of many, and it would never be one again. If you want to continue beyond Alexander, subscribe, because the story doesn't end here. Empires will rise, wars will continue, and the next one changes everything.